the samples that you and your team submitted to the Forensic Science Laboratory that you took from accused number 3, they also were able to find a DNA profile. That DNA profile indicates that it was a male DNA profile, and they tabulated all their findings in those 7 tables there. In other words, it is not a question that they could not find any DNA profile in the samples that you submitted at the Forensic Science Laboratory, that which you got from accused number 3.
I think we say this with the greatest of respect. Counsel is putting a wrong proposition to the witness, and the witness is correct. The DNA expert testified that it was a mixture. On the first marker, amylogen, it's XY. X is for male, and female is XX. So they found XY. So the male is XY, female is XX. So on the sample of accused number 1, on that marker, amylogen is XY. So it's a mixture.
I'm talking about accused number 3, not accused number 1.
I'm sorry, accused number 3.
So I don't understand, my lord. The state says simply because it was an XY, then it was a mixture. No, the state's understanding of DNA profiling, if that is what he's saying, is wrong. Because XY stands for male DNA profile. XX stands for female DNA profile. And in the samples that you submitted at the Forensic Science Laboratory, they found that they were indeed a male DNA profile. And I can tell you that what you submitted at the Forensic Science Laboratory, I have not reasons to believe that those samples related to the DNA analysis of accused number 3.
Counsel, it's with the greatest of respect, he's misreading the evidence of the expert. He's testified, and I don't see any point in confronting this witness with that evidence. He testified that you can read a female profile in that XY, and the example that we used at the time a lot is like a hat that belongs to a male person that is sometimes worn by a female person. So I think his evidence was that it was predominantly a hat that was worn by a male person. It's a mixture. It's on record. There's no need to argue about that point.
I don't understand, my lord. How can accused number 3's DNA, where the police went to Johannesburg prison, they took his saliva, sealed it, packed it, and took it to the Forensic Science Laboratory for analysis. And arriving at the Forensic Science Laboratory, the scientists there are saying, yeah, these samples, this saliva that we got from accused number 3, indeed, you are able to identify a DNA profile. And this DNA profile belongs to a male, which is an XY amylogen. Now the state says that which was extracted from accused number 3 was a mixture of him and a woman kissing each other. No.
It's obvious we don't.
No, I'm talking about accused number 3.
Counsel is referring to a hat.
It's obvious we don't understand DNA.
Yes.
Because I've got 2 senior practitioners here. And they're saying two different things.
Counsel has been asking this witness about a hat
Yes, I know.
and saying that the DNA profile that was found.
Of a woman.
Yes. And we corrected him to say that is not according to the evidence of the expert and according to the table. The table has been read into the record. It's there. It's part of the evidence.
No, man, the state misunderstand me. I am saying, in the DNA profile of the exhibits that they went to take from accused number 1, they indeed found that this relates to, it's a male DNA profile. And I am saying, I mean, number three. And I am saying, I've got no doubt to believe that that was indeed his DNA profile. Because those exhibits from which this DNA was extracted, they belong to him. I'm not talking about a head as yet. I'm talking about what was found in the samples that was taken from accused number 3.
Malatrele, we don't want to belabor the point, but you take a sample to extract DNA to compare it with the exhibit. How can you find a mixture on your own sample? It's a sample, they extract a DNA profile, and they compare this profile with the DNA profile on the scene.
No, the state is lost. 100 miles lost. That tells me, Manuel, that it does not understand how DNA works. I'm not talking about a comparison here as yet. I am talking about exclusively what was found in accused number 3. They found that the DNA that they were able to extract from the samples that the police submitted to them, they indeed belong to a male person. There's no mixture there. And I am saying, I've got no doubt in my mind that what the scientists found, that this was a male DNA, indeed belonged to accused number 3, because the samples were found from him. I'm not talking about mixture or anything here. You may not know that because you're not a scientist. Not so. Now, having been able to identify, this is a bit of a learning exercise. Now, having been able to identify or found that there is indeed a DNA profile in the samples of accused number 3, and having been able to find that there was indeed DNA profile which they were able to extract from the head, they then went on to compare accused number 3's DNA profile and the DNA profile that they were able to extract from the head.
My Lord, so first of all, yes, I agree. I'm not an expert in science, but it does not take a scientist to read a report. Even constables who are detectives, straight from the detective college, they get reports, be it forensic, DNA, they can read and make sense of it. That's what I've obtained and that's what I've read. That's the first part. Secondly, my Lord, I agree with Advocate Mnisi that the DNA that was taken, the buccal swab specifically from accused number 3, was forwarded for comparison with the DNA that was lying, in other words, the exhibit in this matter. And that is the DNA that was mixed. It was not one male DNA, it was a mixture. That's what I was referring him to, because it is contained in my discussion with the expert, and I think even in the expert statements, you will find it there. So it's not one particular DNA. And my understanding is that Advocate Mnisi was saying there's only one DNA, in other words, a male DNA that was found at a crime scene. Then a sample is taken from accused number 3 in order to compare that. I agree insofar as accused 3 is concerned. I disagree when it comes to what was found at the scene. This side is a mixture. It was a male and a female. That was important to me because it was part of the investigation for me to know. That's my comment, my Lord.
Thank you. Now, when the scientists came to testify here at court about the final results of his analysis on this DNA profiling process, this is what he found. Just a bit of a background. And the court held that apparently, in respect of all these accused persons, the investigating team also went out to take DNA profiles, not DNA profile, but DNA samples from them.
Should I comment?
And the results, no, that's what the court had. I'm not done. You don't need to comment because that's evidence on record. Now, the scientists came and told this court that none of these accused persons are linked, including accused number 3, are linked with the hurt found in the house.
My Lord, these are, as my colleague has pointed out, it's a scientific field. The expert has come to the court and explained how DNA works. It's unfair to put that question to the witness. For instance, the witness, Captain Masetla, testified.
I'm getting somewhere, my lord. I do not intend that this, I'm sorry to interject,
Yes, but-
because I know Mr. Baloyi.
But I'm on the floor, my Lord. Captain Masetla testified that there are 16 regions that they look for in the DNA. His criterion, whether to include or exclude, is based on the fact that a profile or a sample must be included on all the loci.
On all the
But-
16.
Yes, on all the 16
That's the
loci,
point.
but he said he can read 7 out of 16 loci as far as accused number 3 is concerned. So those are matters for argument, my Lord, and this witness cannot be confronted with
And
it.
besides, just on DNA A1, the fact that there are no 16 matching, samples, it doesn't follow that Ratamo Khatling wasn't there.
Yes.
It doesn't follow. You can have 5, you can have 10. It just says it is inconclusive.
Yes.
That's what the scientist said.
Yes, in terms of
But it doesn't mean if there are 5 of these portals having DNA, therefore Rata wasn't there. That's fallacious if you reason like that.
And secondly, my Lord, we've referred to the fact that the witness is correct in saying that according to the evidence of the expert, Captain Masetla, this was a mixture that was found in the head. We see that on pages 77 and 78 of his evidence, my Lord.
It's page 77 and 78, no?
Yes, 77 and 78. Page 77 is line 14
Right?
up to 20. Then on page 78, it's about from line 8 up to about line 12.
Okay.
We can put that on record if it's necessary, my Lord. But
No,
the-
the record is there.
yes.
I mean, it's like fingerprints. No? Just for our, wait.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry,
our-
my lord.
for our
I'm
full
sorry.
understanding.
I'm sorry.
A forensic expert in fingerprints comes and asks for fingerprints. And then he gets 5 matching prints or profiles of prints. But because the scientific attribute of saying Ratamo Khateng's fingerprints were found at the scene, there must be at least 7 points of identification. But if they find 6 points of identification or 5 points of identification, it doesn't mean Ratamo Khateng wasn't there. It just means those prints which were lifted there, because they don't tally up to 7, they are inconclusive. That's the scientific language they use. Am I right, sir?
That's what he said, that for a person to be included, he must be read in all
Yes.
DNA regions. That
16.
was his evidence, in all 16 DNA
Yeah.
regions.